Let's see if we could just stick with regular uploads. I'm gonna try my hardest. Welcome. So in order to run boost on this engine, I have to pull the heads, I have to go to a thicker head gasket, I may have to pop the pistons out and go to a piston with less of a dome. This engine was built for nitrous. So it's a 555 cubic inch Dart Big M based block. It's got Cali's Ultra Magnum rotating assembly. As far as pistons, it's got JE pistons, Magnum cranking rods. But the JE pistons, again, have a huge dome. I shouldn't say huge. They have a dome on them. The engine itself is right around 13.5, 13.6 to 1. I want to run pump ethanol on this combo, which means I got to get that compression down, mid 11s, low 11s if possible. So if I have to mill some dome off the piston, if I have to get new pistons, or if just a thicker head gasket can get me there, I don't know. So first time I've ever taken a big block apart starts now. Sick. Oh my God, dude. Who tightened? All right, so Thor tightened the clamps on this SOB. Much better. That's good. It's a good sign. It's good. Let me just get this out of the way. The old hand stop method. Luckily, it looks like they just filled it with mostly water. This is the worst part of tearing a car down is all the trash on the garage floor. Got most of the water contained, but we had a little run over. All right, next, I'm not gonna show this step by step, I'll just time lapse it, but radiator, upper radiator hose, intake manifold's gotta come off. I'm gonna pull the water pump off, basically get everything out of the way so that I can get ready to yank cylinder heads off this thing and see what we got underneath. You buy and work on a bunch of different cars, you get used to these freemiums that come with them. A little Stanley ratcheting, open-ended wrench, that thing's sick. Couple spark plugs to boot, a little drywall anchor, get you some. Let's go. Cut off my floor drying apparatus. This is high quality stuff. You can't buy that anymore. But yeah, so cracked into the engine for the first time. I have pulled a valve cover before, but it is nice to see link bar lifters and some thick old push rods. This stuff is all Greek to me. I honestly do not know anything about big block Chevys, so this is going to be a learning experience for myself. That being said, I have a lot of cool people to rely on to help with it, and I'm ready to keep tearing into this thing. But as you can see, a little water intrusion from when I pulled the intake. I'm gonna grab some brake clean, flush this thing out. I'm also gonna drop the oil out of it and get an oil sample sent off, just so I know that bearings are happy, things like that. The cars only have a few hits on it, but that's enough to tell if we're happy from a bearing and metal in the oil standpoint. Sco! The intake manifold is a Profiler Sniper Junior. This is what Profiler recommends, I think, for under 565 cubes, which is crazy to me that the Junior is for 565 and below. That's an insane engine, but it's hard to tell. There's really no frame of reference next to like another style carb intake, but this sucker beats up. I mean, I got little baby fists, but still. A lot of volume in that son of a gun. And the heads are 375 cc intake ports. So they're the biggest Profiler heads that they offer in the 174X configuration. So the top end of this motor is a pretty rowdy little setup. And I don't know if it's right or wrong for turbo, but we're gonna figure it out real slowly. I'm gonna brake clean, like I said, clean all that stuff up, and then we're gonna get to yanking a cylinder head. I'll stop and kind of show you step by step what no, I won't. I'm not gonna stop at all. I don't know why I lied to you just now. And I'm not gonna reshoot this clip, so enjoy. Instead of the normal background vlog music, I'll talk you through what's going on here. I've never pulled a big block Chevy head before, and these are all these stud mount rockers. So I'm taking the rockers off first, I'm backing off the studs, pulling the rockers and pulling the push rods. 2 different length push rods. And I'll show you something that I found as I was kind of going through this stuff. A little bit concerning, but I'm sure it's just wear and tear. No clue what it is. All right, so let me run through this. This number 1 exhaust port, I'm assuming that's number 1. This is, you know, big block stuff. But number 1 exhaust port, they have the longer push rods, the 9450 push rods. Those go through this guide plate into the lifter. I've never dealt with guide plates before, so that was new for me. And then you have your stud mount, and your rocker goes over your stud into the cup of the lifter. I'm sorry, into the cup of the push rod. Into the cup of the rocker, the push rod goes. Tell you what, let me start over. Spring, retainer, locks, valve, rocker goes here. Before you put the rocker, you put a push rod in. Push rod, rocker. Come on, rocker. And then you got this little doohickey. You know, this goes over the top. You tighten that sucker up, boom, you got a whole setup. That's all I know about it. What's got me, not concerned, but again, what I was talking about earlier, the cup of the rocker, it's been beat up. Like the push rod's been misaligned or something's been going on. So this is the only one I found that is like that. The rest are fine. So could have just been misaligned. The push rod itself, this is the push rod from that hole. It's not crazy beat up. That's just oil shine you see on there. So at any rate, we'll see. We'll take the Cruiser with a couple of bruisers. Charlie, get your head. I gotta close the door. Frank, I gotta close the door. I'll be back. Chill, chill, chill. The thing about having Cane Corsos is they're just giant babies. Franklin, he doesn't stop crying. Look at him. He's just so cute. He's just so cute. Don't get out of her butt, out of her butt, out of her butt. So before I pull a cylinder head, I want to drain the oil out of this thing so there's no coolant that mixes with the oil when the head comes up and off of it, because I do want to get the oil tested. I'm also going to pull the filter off, and I'm going to cut the filter open and see what it looks like in there. German chocolate cake tub with the oil so I can send it out. Okay, a little thick job on the oil. Looks like some 50 weight maybe, I don't know. Oh, I hope that's not a magnetic bolt, because there's a decent amount of junk on that sucker. Oh no, this day got so bad so quick. Right, let's see what we're working with. Let me grab a fresh towel. Maybe it's just assembly loop. I have not touched the thing yet. So. Oh no. Yeah. Oh dude. Oh, that's so dope. And the final product. Cool. Let's hope that that's all that was. Now I get to yank the filter. See what's going on inside that thing. All right, so I don't have a oil filter cutter, but I do have this. This is from Harbor Freight. It's an exhaust tailpipe cutter, and it does the same job. Well, I don't know if it's the same, but it works for what I'm doing. All you need is your oil filter and a vise and that exhaust cutter, and I'll show you how I cut these filters apart. So the exhaust cutter, you can see it just hooks to these little pilots. This filter specifically, you have to go to the widest one. You're gonna wanna clamp it in the vise, the filter. You wanna clamp the filter in the vise, but not so hard that it distorts the body too much. And then as you start to drive this thing around the filter back and forth, you don't wanna squeeze too hard, because look what happens if I squeeze too hard. It tries to turn the filter in the vise. So not too hard, just like you're cutting brake line. All right, so the top's cut off. Now we have the filter element to get out. Set that down. So far, so good. Nothing crazy. I mean, even like, there should be some stuff. There's a little bit of junk, but man, this sucker's clean. We got a disaster going on up here that I'm gonna clean up, but first, I'll clean that first, and then I'll yank a cylinder head off. So I have somewhere nice to put it. I've never pulled a big block head before, so this is gonna be fun. It looks a little heavier than an LS. Right, good to go to yank this cylinder head. Oh man, I should have tarped it. Oh, I should have tarped it. All right, cylinder head's pulled off. This thing is a monster. The valves, they're just stupid. I mean, they're ignorant. It's just too big. What am I supposed to do with all this? On the short block side, I cleaned the piston up, just wiped it down a bit. Same with this one next to it. The others I'm still working on. But the good news is, if you followed this channel for any amount of time, actually, you know how good this is for me specifically. I feel like everything I buy, every car, every engine, whatever, I always get these surprises. I'll pull a head off and the piston will be rusted to the cylinder wall, or it won't have the components that someone told me they did. So to pull the head, and it has all the parts he told me it had, and then to see the piston that looks exactly like the piston I expected, and no crazy weird stuff, is insane. That's just not my luck. My luck is the opposite of that. It's the complete opposite of that. But again, the plan here is yank both heads. One's done. Got to get the other side. I don't need to run you through all that stuff again. Pull the other head off. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to CC the heads and see what the combustion chamber size is, math out what size head gasket I need. And basically, if I have to go to too thick of a head gasket to get to where I want to go, then I'm just going to have to pop those pistons out and either change them or mill the domes down a little bit, which is not an uncommon thing to do if you're going to a lower compression engine. The question mark that I have, and I have to give it JE Pistons, is can I get a blueprint of the piston to see how much I can actually take off the domes of these things before I get into any trouble. Now, if you know of this process or if you've worked with JE before, drop a comment below. Let me know how the process was for you. If you guys see anything that I should look out for, question marks, whatever, I appreciate the support and the help. Again, I am a total novice with this stuff. I do appreciate you watching if you made it this far. Like and subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Have a good day. I'm gonna get back to work.
Not gonna do an outro, just gonna show you both our dogs. And look, it's my face, look, it's the doggies, yaddy-daddy-daddy-daddy-da.